I could tell you boys, prepare as men, because hell is at our doorstep. And that's Trudeau who left us like that. Well, we were warning people, but warning people in the gym, warning people on the podcast here. We're in the quickening stage. Things are going to speed up. There's going to be a lot of distractions. There's going to be a lot of the division. They focus on your diversity is what creates a division. Why not play to our strengths and focus on what unites us all? That was part of the mighty Maxime Bernier's platform. He said that to us right here.
We need to unite everybody under the freedom umbrella. You know, I don't care if you want to take the vaccine, take it, but it's your choice. So, Trudeau and Poilievre, and not Poilievre at that time, it was O'Toole, were dividing the population on the vaccine status and race and all that. But for us, we want to unite everybody. The most important for us, if you're a candidate for the People's Party, do you share our values? Yes, you're white, you're black, you're gay, you're not. It's not important. I don't want to know that. But the media, they want to know it. They want to know how many black, how many white. No, for us, it's not important. But yes, it's all about dividing people by the color of the race, the sexual orientation, vaccinated or not. I don't play that game.
This is the type of man that Canadians need right now. That's a real leader, a leader for Canadians. In other words, a government that came from the people, by the people, for the people.
He actually said it in his Telegram and I believe Twitter, which is X now. Do we call it X or Twitter? Whatever, it doesn't matter. So the
Twitter X.
He actually said it. He was questioned by one of the Liberal MPs in terms of like, well, Bernier is silent on the subject of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and Bernier said, why do I choose this conflict over any conflict that's going on in the world? If anything, if we choose to focus on the conflict outside of this country, then we're being intentionally distracted. We're diverting attention from what really matters here. And what really matters here, we have an authoritarian runaway government that brought this country to its knees, literally, and continues to send taxpayer money to fuel world conflicts, to kill more people, to divide and conquer more people, to actually separate the wealth, make rich people richer and make poor people poor, and follow agendas of unelected officials in our so-called Western democracy. And this is the attention that needs to be paid to now. That's my take on that.
Also, Canadians, time to wake up, because the household debt to revenue ratio, income ratio, is number 2 in the world, the worst, just after Norway. And we're in this predicament now as we're going into the hard time. In other words, there's no soft landing for Canada. They're going to get whacked good. And I hope that we don't take this stress out on each other. I hope that we unite and take it out on the so-called government that does not work for the people of Canada, but in actuality works for the globalists that are trying to hurt Canada. And another example is sending $650 million to Ukraine, and yet wanting to defund the Canadian military budget by another $1 billion. So we don't have enough money for our own military, but we have money to send to other militaries around the world. At the same time, as we're just reading, that inflation is also affecting the families of Canada's military. The people in the military, they have families. They're starting to complain that the cost of living is too much. There's not anything left over for the family to have like a decent life. Oh, but we have no money to help out our own soldiers and people in our military. No, we got to send it to another place. Is this logical?
Well, you would feel it first. You have a restaurant. How's that? And the restaurant is the first business, like entertainment of that sort. Restaurants, bars, clubs, they're the first ones to feel it. Compare it. Let me know. Like even like beginning of the summer versus now.
Trust me. The summer is supposed to be the best time in the restaurant business. And it's almost like we're waiting and the best time kind of never really got there. you're kind of just coasting and you're like, you know what? Okay, well, we're doing okay. True, I'm extremely positive and I believe in my team and we actually cook and produce a good product. So the people stick with us. We have a unique niche of brand of authentic Jamaican food that people can't find nowhere else. So I think that keeps us above water. But I've definitely felt it because the spike never came. The summer spike never came. And now we're going into the winter. So definitely we feel it. It's ironic that we watch all these videos about war, but there's so many different types of wars going on. We're in so many wars right now. We're in an economic war. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a Ukraine war, Israel and Palestine are going to war, but we're at war right here in so many ways, not just in Chicago, but economically, mentally. There's war all over right now.
You're in the restaurant business, one of your businesses. It reminds me of a friend of mine, my top friend, so many years with him. He had a restaurant for a king. I mean, it's so successful. 35 years. He lost $140,000 last year. He couldn't believe it. He underestimated the cost of providing his product and the service costs involved. And he's already now the end of the summer, you would almost think he's going into the worst time of the year in every restaurant business here in Canada is always January and February.
Correct.
His figures now, just starting the month of October, are already at the worst time of the year.
Mm.
The other day I went to have my bike fixed. And I was talking to the guy who owns the store, Pierre, Robert Cycle in LaSalle here. A fantastic business, 42 years, champ. So I said to him, wow, you must have had a good summer this summer. People were out there. He said, worst summer I've ever had. So, we see the business cycle trending downward.
Yeah.
This always happens. More of it is engineered than by nature. So the engineering now is for a negative business cycle. The good thing about that, if you want to look at the positive side, is that weeds out the weak competitors. So the winners win under a normal system. Some of the losers, well, they lose, but some of them will start over again and learn and do what's necessary to win.
Right.
If you want to be successful, do what the successful people are doing. So this is how you're going to have the war of attrition, another war. Okay, how one business is going to survive while another business or 5 businesses are going to implode. Now, it's not just little mom and pop stuff. This is also affecting big business like Target in America.
Of course.
They're closing all kinds of stores. Walmart is closing. There are some people that saying Amazon was taking over their business. Yeah, but even Amazon sales are on a negative trajectory. This is the whole reason why the Chinese economy now is trending downward at a rapid pace, something they haven't seen in almost 30 years, is because they're the manufacturer of products for the world. Well, the world's not buying anymore. Why? Well, because they can't. They're tapped out financially. So now you have China suffering.
So is that the reason why you think this World War III? Because it is a World War III. Because if you combine all the conflicts together, it is a World War III. Yeah. And it's the war between the bankers, globalists, and the military-industrial complexes against the people. That's the way I perceive it as a war now. Because we talk about industrial revolution. The next industrial revolution is AI industrial revolution. Automation, right? So maybe the next World War conflict is not robots, just like Klaus said, it's the robots against the humans. So if the AI already runs BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, because those are the 3 organizations, brothers and sisters, they own 90% of the stock, S&P 500.
They run things. They run Wall Street.
They own each other. and on the Wall Street, basically. So they're the free ones. But if that's run by AI, for example, and that's the war against the AI, then maybe I get it. But if it's not AI, that's the war against those people, because those people are at war with you, 100%. And if you are still delirious and you don't understand that's the war against you, then wake up and smell Israel, because that's the war. Those people woke up on Saturday and celebrating the high holiday, and the rockets are raining down. And we're lucky. We can discuss Israel. We can discuss Ukraine. We can discuss Yemen. We can discuss Iraq. We can discuss Ethiopia. We are so lucky we don't have this conflict here. Hopefully it never comes, Glenn. But the army that's here already, the military-age men that migrated to North America via southern border of United States and other ways, the way they came to Canada, that's not the women, that's not the families, that's the military-age men. And now there's plenty of evidence there that they're coming in with the debit cards issued by you and the telephone issued by you. And what are they waiting for? Why are they here? Glenn, am I entertaining too conspiratorial for you?
Well, as Canada's GDP, gross domestic product, in other words, the measure of how well the corporation of Canada is doing, the real economy, it's trending downward at a relatively, it's a quickening pace. But if you divide the GDP per capita, in other words, the rather speeding up of the population in Canada through immigration, real immigration, and also refugees or people just running across the border illegally, you could see that Canada's GDP is trending negative at an exponential pace. In other words, the business of Canada, the corporation, we're speeding up towards bankruptcy.
We'll give people some hope, Glenn. We're not just telling them because we want to spread gloom and doom,
Nope.
right?
We have to go through this to get to the good side. The good side is going to be a more fair and equitable side, where everybody is going to be equal the way it's supposed to be, not a perceived equal. You're going to have a fair taxation. I don't believe on taxing income. I believe in taxing consumption, because everybody has to consume to live. And the taxes goes towards, let's say, infrastructure and keeping everything functioning at a good humanitarian level. And when everything becomes equal, I believe that we're going to be going into a new type of renaissance. In other words, it'll probably be the best time ever to be alive in the history of humanity.
Well, brothers and sisters, you heard it here first from Glenn. The rainbow is around the corner, and not the rainbow in the gay village, but the actual rainbow of hope passed to you from God. Well, and don't forget, God gave you an ability to be a man or a woman. And if you're a man, you have all the tools, presumably, or you have ability to sharpen all the tools that God gave you. So go to the gym, right, Glenn? Go to the church or whatever you're going to. Have a discipline. Have a physical discipline, have a spiritual discipline, have a mental discipline. And if you adhere to those disciplines and you do this day in and day out, there is hope for all of us, not just you. Rome, any closing thoughts?
Oh, man, I love the positive statement from Mr. Glenn. I'd like to, yeah, that's right. Add on, go to the gym, get creative, get a side hustle or two, provide for your family, provide for yourself. It's time to, you know what I mean? Whatever, it's not time to sit at home. It's time to get to it, figure it out, get to it, get creative, get your hustle up.
Thank you, Rome. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, my brothers, for being here and sharing this mic with me today. Brothers and sisters, thank you for tuning in and listening to Glenn's Wisdom, because today is the Glenn Show. And short announcement, Glenn's channel is coming alone. And watch this preview. And we'll see you on the next one.